Hello everyone, happy evening to one and all present here. I'm Sandhya from MTT. Would like to start this webinar with a small quote. Children learn through doing. Play is how they explore their world, learn how to assess risk, try things out, and get to know themselves by Beth Almaris. Now, I would like to introduce my trusted tutor. MTT is a marketplace for private tutors, school teachers, corporate trainers, academicians, educators, and all kind of education professionals. Our mission is to make quality education easily and affordably available to all. I take a great privilege to introduce our speaker of the day, Yukti Gupta, on the topic inclusive play. Our speaker Yukti Gupta works as an assistant professor at the Department of Special Education at SNDT Women's University. She is a specialist in rehabilitation of persons with visual impairment and a trainer for Special Olympics. She currently pursuing her PhD in special education. She has undertaken various research related to her field. She has also attended conferences and published her work nationally. Now I hand over this session to Yukti ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Cynthia, for a brief introduction about me.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. Hello, everyone. It's pleasure to be here. And as Cynthia did introduce me, saying I work and I'm specialized in the field of visual impairment. But today I'm going to talk about inclusive play. Now, before that, any one of you, do you know anything about disability? And you're free to post in the chat box, or you can unmute your microphones and you can revert me back for this question. Anything about disability? Anyone would like to try? What do you understand by disability?
Participants, please unmute yourself or put your answers in your
Responses,
chat box.
yeah, you can put your responses in the chat box. I guess nobody wants to. It's okay. Um, Absolutely fine. Maybe it's something new. Okay. Nigtha says she's not at all aware. Okay, yes, Amrita, physical disability, absolutely right. She's not aware, like Nigtha said, she don't know anything about disability. Inability
Um,
to achieve, disadvantage. Yes, Farah, you want to say something?
yeah, can we call it a hindrance, something which is stopping someone from doing something something like
Yeah,
this?
absolutely. Because
Yes,
of something, they are unable to perform the way we as a non-disabled, we perform. Like we don't have disability, but they are
yes,
unable to do so. Yes, learning
yes.
disability
It's
is
talking
one.
about the physical. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Correct. Yeah. So one type of disability is learning disability. Correct. Any ability which, yeah, okay, that is already done. It's a condition where someone experiences certain difficulty. Absolutely. So now I'm going to share my screen, and any question if you have related to whatever I present, please post your questions in the chat box. And at the end of the webinar, we will take up all the. So for today, my topic is inclusive play. Now, before I talk about inclusive play, I'm going to cover what is disability and what is inclusive education. Now, as you all have known, like whoever is from education sector, now according to national education policy, in chapter 6 it is clearly said, and it is mandatory, that we need to promote inclusive education. Now, what is inclusive education? Now, again, in this audience, maybe there may be few of participants who are from special education field, but in case if you're not, don't worry, I will tell you what is inclusive education. Now, the flow of the session would be, I'll be talking about inclusive education. Then I'll connect inclusive education to with inclusive play. And then why is it important to promote inclusive play in day-to-day life? So this would be my flow of the session. Yeah. Now coming to what is disability. Now, as many of you said, when a person is unable to perform certain activities, as easier and as easy that the way we all perform. And it's again difficult for person to communicate to each other or communicate with others. Talk about disability. Now there could be sensory disability. Now sensory disability includes hearing impairment, who cannot hear, visual impairment, who cannot see, and multiple disability, that is deaf blind. The person who may have deafness as well as visual impairment together. So that comes under sensory disability. I guess you may not know or may not be aware of the terms, but definitely you all would have seen people with conditions, right? Now, physical disability is that when a person is unable to move around independently, when their limbs are affected, when again you may have seen people who move on wheelchair. So that comes under physical disability. Now, neurodevelopmental disorder consists of people with learning disability. So the wires, the electric in the brain, when it does not match with actual nerves, it it the child faces difficulty there. So the child could be with intellectual disability. Now, many of us would have heard the term mental retardation. Now, as a special educator and in the field of special education, nowadays mental retardation is a neglected word. We don't use mental retardation at all. Now, the correct term for mental retardation is intellectual disability. Right? So neurodevelopmental disorder consists of either intellectual disability, autism spectrum disorder, learning disability, etc. Now, mental disorder does not mean that the person is unable to perform any of the skills. They can perform. So mental disorders, it could be obsessive compulsive disorder, schizophrenia, anxiety disorder, personality disorder. So these are the disorder which comes under mental disorders. Now, how do they participate? Now, you have, as a teacher, as an educator, you need to adapt skills. You need to adapt your activities so that we can promote inclusivity. Now, I have a small task for you, and my chat box will be open. I want you to just tell me, I want you all to spot the coin here. Can you all just identify? So I'm going to open my chat box and you want me to give the direction, or maybe you can unmute your microphone and you can tell me it's towards the right, left, top, bottom, any. Like you need to tell me where the coin is. Can anyone? Santa, I would like your help here. Can you tell me what
Ma'am, it seems to me a blurred image.
Yeah,
Ma'am, it's a blurred image.
absolutely, it's a blurred image, but I'm going to test you, like how much you can identify.
Okay.
It's a blurred image, I agree. So your task
Okay,
is, the picture is blurred completely, and I want you to spot the coin in this blurred image. Spot the
Ma'am,
coin.
all the participants are okay. Deepthi is saying it's in middle.
It's in middle.
Gunasekaran is
Dipti,
yeah.
okay. Can you?
Gunasekaran
Is it here? Is it here, Dipti? Maybe if you can just respond as yes or either no.
Yes, I think it's in the middle.
Okay, it's in the middle. Okay. Anyone?
Gunasekaran is saying it's in middle left. And
Middle
Mamta
left.
Nath is
Okay,
saying,
somewhere here. Okay.
It's in left.
Again, it's in left. Okay.
Jiva is saying middle and left.
Okay, middle left. Okay. Again, so it could be here or either. Either here. Okay. So I guess nobody is telling about right. So, okay, I can give you a hint. It is, you're correct. Whoever said left, it's towards left. So now I want you to exactly spot the coin now.
Now Rekha is saying that left near red.
Near red, somewhere here, Rekha. Maybe if you can just unmute your microphone. Okay, I guess she's unable to unmute, maybe.
Ma'am, is it it is somewhere near that tree-like structure, or is it the road above red?
Is it
Between the
here?
black and green, yes, where you're
Yeah.
just moving your
Okay, cursor. Okay, so
yeah,
somewhere
yeah.
here. Okay, she says it's here. Okay, so now I'm going to release where the coin actually is. Okay, now check. Can you tell me now when it's a proper image? Can you tell me where the coin is? I guess you can see the square now. It's
Yes,
highlighted.
Yes,
Yeah.
near
now
the
we
Mickey
can see
Mouse.
Now you can see
above the Mickey Mouse, right?
above the
Yes.
Mickey Mouse. Absolutely.
Above
So
the Mickey Mouse.
yeah. So now when we show a blurred image, it was so difficult for each of us to identify where the coin was. Right. Same goes here. Now when we actually don't think out of the box, it's very difficult when we don't provide with clear picture, or when we don't provide with appropriate material to the child. It's difficult for the child to comprehend, it's difficult for the child to perform. And when we don't give them materials that they require of, and we get response as that they are not working hard, and that's incorrect. You have to give, or you have to provide material as per the need of the child. Maybe now I may have a visual impairment, and the entire pictures were completely, now I purposely did the picture blurred, but what if as a visual impairment I cannot see far objects? Then what strategy can you apply? You may have to bring the child nearby to the object so that the child recognizes it. So as a teacher, again, you need to modify your, or you need to adapt your techniques, strategies, or methods that you use in classroom. So it's so clear now. I guess everybody is able to see number 2, number 3, number 1, dogs, puppy, girl, walking, fish, Mickey Mouse, everything clearly now. But when it was a blurred image, I guess few of you may not be able to actually comprehend what was displayed, right? So now how we are moving to inclusion. Now, as I said, National Education Policy 2020, it says that we need to promote inclusion. Now, over the last 20 years, practice of educating students with special needs in the regular classroom. So it means that we teach children with special needs in a regular classroom with the students who have no kind of disability. So wherein they come together and they learn the same material, the same content that we use in regular classroom. So even they learn in the same manner. The only thing is we provide adaptations to the material. Now, for example, now if I have intellectual disability, it means that I need smaller instructions. I cannot take long sentences at one go. You need to divide, or you need to make your task into small steps. So that adaptations, I guess, if we all can make in a regular classroom for a child. But the child is motivated when the child is surrounded by people who supports them, and that is how the child gains confidence. And we are completely uh, saying no to special schools these days, because as I said again, we are promoting inclusive education. Now here again, when we say about, or when we talk about inclusive education, it means collaboration or co-teaching. Co-teaching is, it means when you partner with other teacher, with other specialized faculty. Maybe a teacher who is a general educator may be collaborating with a special educator to make your classroom success, right? So it's again very important to work in collaboration, because everyone has their own ideas. Everyone has their own strategy to deal with situations. And once we share our ideas with each other, we are able to make the entire structure positive as well as successful. And it's also brings in the safe and productive learning environment. It's again very important. when you're with peers, with or without disability, it creates, they learn from each other, and it creates a learning environment. As we all know, we do learn from experiential learning, from experience, right? So we are moving from allowing students with special needs to in making them in to welcoming. So we are not just telling, okay, you can sit in my class. Instead, we are welcoming now, and we are accepting students with special needs. And this helps us to build communities where everyone feels a sense of belonging. And it's very important to build a sense of belongingness, because until you have that kind of feeling, you will not be able to accept children with special needs. So building a community is very important. Sense of belongingness is important. You have to, as a teacher, as a parent, as a friend, as any relative, you need to give your students varied opportunities so that they learn from each experience. So I'm going to move to my next slide now. Now, what is inclusive education? It is not keeping children with disabilities out of school. It is also not that we are segregating special education schools. It's also not that we are separating classes integrated in a regular school. Instead, it is including all students in in a mainstream school. So they both, children with special needs and without disability, they both study together. So this is an image you can see. I'll go with the exclusion part first. Now you can see what is exclusion. The people inside the circle or in the classroom are without disability. And we are excluding children with special needs because children may have different needs, correct? And that is why it has different colors to it. Next, when we started moving to segregation, we started including, but they used to be in different class and the regular students were in different class. And then we started moving to integration. Now, integration is in a classroom, they will study together, but for resource, like for extra lectures or extra efforts, for remedial classes, for intervention, they used to go to a resource room. But now we are moving to inclusion where children with special needs and children without disability, they study together, they perform together, they play together, they do all the projects assignment together. And it's very important as a teacher to promote inclusive education. So in easy terms, we welcome special needs in our classroom. We educate them in the similar manner the way we do for others. We collaborate with experts in the field of special education so that we give them appropriate learning environment, and we design the curriculum or we adapt the instruments according to the need of the child. So this is what is all about inclusive education. Now, you can see this picture. Now, this is one riddle for you, okay? Again, I want you all to post your answers in the chat box, okay? There was a palace where you can see the thieves are climbing the window and they want to enter the palace to rob. So they are the thieves. And there is a person in the room that they are entering, but the person is not stopping the thieves at all. Why? You can ask me questions and I'll respond to you with either yes or no as an answer. And the person that is inside the room his name is Mike. Okay, why wouldn't Mike, who was in perfect health, did not stop the thieves or at least call the police after they left? Now I want you to go ahead with your questions, frame your question, and they'll be answered with a yes and no. So Santhya, I will again need your help here. So
Yes,
bring
ma'am.
in your questions and I'll
Farah,
respond to your questions.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Farah Nafis has said he's child.
Okay, he's a child. Okay. Yes, he's a child. Can you tell me the age of the child? But again, child can call, right? But why the child is not calling police?
Manisha Arora is saying he is unable to see or hear.
Okay,
Questioning. She's questioning me.
no, no. Answer is
Okay.
no.
Deepthi Peter is saying he was sleeping.
No,
Okay. Jay Annie is saying that he is afraid of them.
no,
No. Then Deepali is saying that maybe they did not steal anything at all.
no.
Manisha is saying
Come
the kid
on.
is unable to move. Paranafis is saying he's an infant.
No,
Mamta is saying maybe blind.
no.
Okay.
Okay. Any Santa, would you like to try? Would you like to ask me a question?
Okay. Okay, fine. Mm, okay. Is the child is mentally challenged? Anything?
No, no.
No. No.
Okay. Is there any more questions in the chat box?
No, ma'am. I
No.
think we
Okay. So I'm
stop.
going to show you the answer now.
Okay.
Mike is a 5-month-old baby,
Oh.
and that is why the child was unable to call police, and the child was unable to. So the person who said child, I was really impressed with your answer, but again, I wanted you to come with a word called baby, because child can
Ma'am,
call,
I
but
used, yes.
sorry.
Sorry for the interruption, but I gave that an infant
And
later.
yes. Yes.
Sorry for the
Okay.
interruption,
Okay.
ma'am.
No. Absolutely fine. Okay. So I'm glad that you were able to solve the riddle, but yes, the baby, it was a baby, and that is why he was unable to call police, or he was unable to stop those thieves. So again, see, why did I bring this riddle here? Because when now because I'm talking about just special needs, most of you just started talking about blind, or cannot hear, or the child was cannot move, or the child was intellectual disabled. So you started thinking only in one line, right? So the same thing happens when we teach to a child with special needs, or maybe when we promote inclusive education, or when we teach in an inclusive setup. You just think in one line, okay, the child is unable to see, okay, I will just provide this. But what about other solutions? Why can't we just include them with everyone? Why can't we just pair with a child with who's with a regular child? Why don't we think that? So here my logic here was that we always, as a parent, again as an educator, we need to think out of the box. You should have divergent thinking, right? So why do we promote inclusive education? Now, education, when we say, it's more than an academic process. The brain and the emotion needs to be developed, and we need to use all the strength of the children to build academic success. Now, everyone among us, I guess the participants are almost like approximate 19 or 20. Now, everyone here, we all have our different strength. Some may be good in art, some may be good in dance, some may be like some of you may be a special educator, some may be a regular teacher, a mainstream teacher, or maybe you're working in a corporate. So everyone has their own strength, and when we talk about inclusive education, you need to identify the strength of the child, and accordingly you need to give them activities. Now, schools provide the advantage of community. So when we say inclusive education, we expect everyone to accept children with special needs. And that is how communities are involved here. We share awareness, we create awareness so that people know about each disability. Now, again, most of you must be using Facebook. Now, at times you may come across the post like, today is mental health day. Now, soon we are going to have White Cane Day on 15th of October. Again, you will get to know, but do we do anything as a regular mainstream teacher? No, we don't. But yes, for information, yes, we know that today is this day. But we are not celebrating. Are we sharing with our students? No. So inclusive education helps us to create awareness about each day, about each disability, about each strategy that we use with children with special needs. And children learn from modeling of age appropriate peers. Now, in this pandemic situation, many children are unable to go down and play. And so they must be using laptop, iPad, computer, phones to play online. But when they are together, when they are with their peers, they tend to learn from each other. Now again, I'll just give a real life experience. Now, among your friends group, you may like something about your friend and you tend to adapt that in yourself. Am I right? You can say, you can reply by saying yes or no. I guess we do adapt things from us, friends, or maybe a parents, or maybe a stranger. Like you like the way the stranger walks. Oh, I want to adapt that. So do you do that? Like anything, could be anything. Do you do that?
Ma'am, Ekta
So
is
you all
saying
can
yes.
respond as yes or no.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ekta is saying yes, and Ashmi is saying yes,
Okay.
and Anushma is saying yes. Almost
Okay.
participants are saying
Everyone
yes.
is saying yes. Yes. So yes, even I do copy. It's not that oh, I don't. I do. Sometimes, no, especially ladies here. Oh, I liked her dress. Even I want that kind of dress. We do that. When we are with our age group, we tend to learn more. We tend to go out. We tend to explore many things with our friends. Same goes here. You need to pair your kids with special needs with a child who have no kind of disability, so that they learn with through each other. And that is what is about inclusive education. Give them opportunities so that people accept them the way they are, and also respect the differences that they see or that they observe. Now again, when I say that we all are different in our own way, some of you may not be able to understand English. It doesn't matter that it doesn't give you a message saying that the person doesn't know anything about it. No, they may know, just they may be comfortable in some other language. I saw one during introduction. I guess some was specialized in Urdu. Now I don't know Urdu. Now we know the few words that we usually hear. It doesn't mean that if she talks in Urdu, I will not understand. Maybe a few words I may understand, but later. You need to accept that, right? You need to accept, you need to teach in the language that the majority is comfortable in. Now, when we say Maharashtra, the local language is Marathi. But maybe there could be some students who may not know Marathi at all. So the language Hindi. Now, most of us, like majority, do know Hindi. You can teach in Hindi, it's absolutely fine. Now we are promoting English, whereas English is a second language. Again, kids do face difficulty in talking fluently, but we try to give them exposure, right? So that is important. You need to give exposure to the child so that they learn better. But how can you give that? You need to be very flexible in whatever you're planning. Maybe it could be games, it could be your dance, it could be your education, anything. You need to be very flexible, right? Be collaborative. Do collaborate with experts. If you feel the child needs assistive devices, collaborate with assistive expert. If the child needs physiotherapy, collaborate with them. If you feel that your child has issues in his speech, collaborate with speech therapist. And that is how you will be able to bring in successful inclusivity. Be prepared to problem solve. As a teacher, you can't say, "Ye mujhe nahi aata." Try to develop your own solution to it. You can, as a teacher, what I feel is you can bring several solutions when you teach. It's okay if the child is unable to comprehend in the language English. Translate it into Hindi or the mother tongue if you know the child's mother tongue. Explain the child, and you solve your problem. So be always prepared to solve, which you should, as a teacher, parent, friend, you should never say, "I can't solve your problem." Hear the child. Try to solve. Try to give opportunity to the child. Also, at times, the parent need to make the child independent. Let them solve their own problem, but in the backup, you need to be there as in support, right? Be a planner. You need to plan. Without planning, nothing works. Be aware of the language used when describing students. Now, the major concern here is, I can't say, "Oh, tum blind ho, idhar aao." No. Call the child by name. Everyone has name. Now, if I say, if you all call me Yukti, and instead of Yukti, you're telling me something else, I may not like. I have my name. Call me by my name, right? So same goes with children with special needs. You can't say special need children. You need to use appropriate language. You need to consider the person first and not the disability. You need to consider the disability in the second way, as a second language. The first language would be person, right? So a child with visual impairment, a child with hearing impairment, children with hearing impairment. You can't say hearing impairment children. No, it means that you're giving first preference to the disability and not to the person. So give preferences to the child or to the person's name, but not to the disability, right? Be aware of how you spend your time. You need to plan again. Be prepared to play a key role in beginning and maintaining an inclusive focus. You have to always keep in mind that you may have children with diverse needs. You need to. Now, inclusive education doesn't mean that it just focuses on children with special needs. It also focuses on diverse needs. Maybe it could be a person who belongs to different caste, different religion. It's okay. And when they come together, that is called as inclusivity. Now I gave you the complete background of inclusive education. Now the main topic when we say inclusive play. Now I hope you could have understood now what is inclusive here. I guess you're correct. Inclusive play means when a child with special needs or with diverse needs play with the regular students or regular kids. That is what is all about inclusive play. Now, many areas, there could be people who have diverse needs, but they are unable to actually, they are not allowed to play with them. Why? Maybe parents, they don't like. Maybe the kids may have a negative feeling about the person. But researches, when we do researches, it is indicated when we club. Now it's all about parents' perception. When you send your students or when you send your kids to play with children with diverse needs, they learn better. Okay. So now I have a question with you. Now you can see on the left, this one, just assume that this child is with special needs. Okay. And the child needs to play with regular students. Now you may be asking, oh, the child has bat ball, but here they are playing football. But this is just an assumption. Okay, maybe both of them can just interchange the game, right? So what the question is, what as a coach, what can Coach Thomas do to include Leela in the game? So these are the options. Now I want you to tell me the correct answer for it. What do you feel would be the correct answer? I want to include the special need in my game or sports. So you all can send your answer in the chat box.
Amrita is saying D and Manisha is saying D, ma'am.
Okay, so
Ayana ma'am is saying D and Mamta ma'am is saying give a chance to play.
give a
And
chance. Okay, give a chance. There is no option, give a chance, but then I can take your option. So just consider that option as E, option E. Okay.
okay, and Jay Annie ma'am is saying D, and Mamta ma'am is again saying D. Farah ma'am is saying B, and Ashmi ma'am is saying D. Gracie Paul is saying D, and
Okay.
Anushma is saying consider a goalkeeper. Consider as a goalkeeper.
Okay. Again, that option is not there, but then maybe you can consider that as well. But yes, majority says D, and the correct
And
answer also is D.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah. Santha, you were going to say something.
no, Sonali ma'am has put her option like B.
Okay.
That's
Add verbal calls out to visual cues and hand gestures. Absolutely. Again, that can be included. You have to. So whenever you provide any games, you need to give verbal cues. But what if the child, when we say inclusivity, now maybe the children without disability, they are unaware of the disability. You need to sensitize. They need, as a coach, you need to teach them how to play accessible cricket or accessible football. Now, I guess many of you would have seen blind cricket. Have you all seen? Now, just keep this question in mind, and in the end, I'm going to ask you about blind cricket. And if you don't know, just you can Google out till then, and I'm going to ask you questions on that. Yeah. So, as we said, inclusive is one approach to education in which children with and without disability reside in the same classroom. Children with disabilities benefit. I'm just going to recap this, whatever we just learned. Yeah. Children with the disabilities benefit from inclusive program because they learn how to interact with their peers, they develop true friendships, and learn other important skills in a natural environment. Now, when we say inclusive play, there's a beautiful research which is done by John and Vive in 2004, and he quotes as, enabling all children to play and to play together is about a benefit to the whole community. It is not about overcoming legal hurdles or making expensive provision for a small section of the community. If any child is prevented from playing, then it diminishes the play experience for all. So if you don't give opportunities, the child will never develop himself, never will not be able to gain confidence, may not be motivated, and the kids, they will not be able to build true friendship. They will not be able to learn from experience. So you need to enable children to play together. It's okay if the child with special needs falls or bumps to something. It's absolutely fine. That is how we all learn. Even we fell down, right? While when we used to play. And we still, I guess, whoever plays now, again, we may, right? So children benefit from being outside, interacting with their environment, and learning from nature and developing through play. So now kids, now whoever here have younger ones, younger kids, they all love to go out. They love to interact with the environment and their peers, the friends. They love to see nature, and they develop so many skills, maybe social skill, emotional skill, so much. It's completely develops your holistic development, right? So however, children's environment has changed dramatically. There are fewer natural environment, and increasingly parents discourage outdoor play nowadays. Now I'm not talking about this pandemic, okay? Before that, पढ़ाई करो ट्यूशन जाओ क्लासेस जाओ कल एग्जाम है होमवर्क करो. That is what we all say to our kids, but do we actually encourage them to go out and play? There could be parents who may encourage, but there are also parents who discourage it. Instead, they provide them with iPads, they provide them with phones. Play here, take your time, and then get back to study. That will not help the child at all. So we need to promote, let them go outside. It's not only for children with special needs, it's also without disability. Okay, so all children are morally and legally entitled to play within their community, whatever their culture, impairment, gender, language, background, behavior, or need. Again, when kids play, there could be children who belongs to Maharashtra, like they talk in Marathi. There could be people who talk in Punjabi. There could be people who talk Gujarati or Kutchi. It doesn't mean that you can't play with them. What if the child has hearing impairment? The child can't hear, but at least the child can do signs. You can understand with the help of sign language. Water, easy, even if you don't know sign language, you can just indicate water. Food, we all do that, right? So you just you have to open your mind and just deal with it, play with them. So according to UNCRC, that is United Nations Convention on the Rights of Children, Article 23 quotes that the attainment of full inclusion of children with disabilities in the society is realized when children are given the opportunity, places, and time to play with each other. So that means you need to give equal access, you need to give equal opportunity and participation, remove barriers, and it's children's right to express, it's their rights to play. When we say about right to education, so at the same tag, I would say they have right to play also. And this inclusive play is missing from our system. We all talk about inclusive education everywhere, but what about inclusive play? No one is talking about it. So inclusive play means all children and young people have equal access to good quality local provision, play provision, right? So it is important so that we give complete and equal rights to perform activities like non-disabled do. As when I say, they also have equal rights to get services which help them to develop their overall skills, all the skills, right? So I also had done a study on inclusive play, a research, and it is very important to adopt inclusive physical activity. But there are few essential points that as a teacher or as a organization we need to consider. The resources, whether if we are promoting inclusive play, do we have resources with us? Do we have an inclusive garden or playground? Whether we have ramps in our school so that even if the child is on wheelchair, the child can travel independently. You don't have to lift the child and you have to make them dependent. No, make the ramp so that the child is independent. Whether you have a texture flooring so that the child with visual impairment can travel without anyone's assistance. Do you have signage, again, for children with visual impairment so that they can identify where he's moving to, right? Whether do you have captions for children with hearing impairment when there's an announcement in the school happening? No, these all adaptations we need to do to bring inclusive education in place, inclusive play in place. So you need to have resources with you. You also need to have instructional individualization. Each individual, as I said earlier, each individual have different style of learning or requirement. You need to bring or you need to make individualized education plan so that accordingly you provide them with techniques, methods, so that they learn thoroughly the way you all want to, because we all expect the responses, right? And also breadth of benefits. What benefit you'll get, you need to be very clear with that, right? So play has been defined as an actively, freely chosen, intrinsically motivated, and personally directed. It stands outside ordinary life and is non-serious, but at the same time absorbing the player intensely. Now, soon I'm going to show you one video, and I want you to tell me what changes you can see here, right? So I'm going to skip this slide, and there are two researchers that I have quoted. The Best Play in 2000 said that it helps in motivation. It helps, the inclusive play actively engages the child. And it helps in therapy, games, sports, arts, and other initiated and directed activities. The other researcher says that it helps the child to be in that environment and to learn the richness of the opportunity, and each child to exercise choice and to grow safely at their own rate. You don't have to force that the child should know one thing, even if the child has some delays in learning, it's fine. So the key ingredients that I feel is you need to give them sensory experiences. Now we all know what 5 senses we use, right? That is vision, hearing, taste, smell, and tactual, right? So these are the experiences that you need to provide each individual, irrespective of their disability, caste, race, anything, irrespective of all that. Community engagement, give them opportunity, encourage them to participate, and create awareness. That is what is needed in our society. Awareness raising and skills building of play designers, architects, landscape architects, because until your playground is adapted, until your playground is inclusive, the child will not be able to play, right? So playground activities, you need to have modified swings, use bright colors, use modified sandboxes so that the child is able to perform the activity. Now you can see here in this picture. Now you need to consider when you actually plan your, when you structure and when you ask your architects to make the entire playground inclusive, you need to see that the child should not get hurt. Now, if you see, there's a single wooden ramp, right, or the block. Child is moving independently, and this child maybe is without disability. But what about a child with wheelchair? There's a gap between the bridge and the wooden plank, right? So you need to consider the safe risk also, that you need to, when you actually plan, you need to see whether the environment is safe or no. It also helps to promote social and emotional development, as I earlier said, right? Now, why is it important? Because it helps children to engage in physical play at the background, and often that not, they have obstacles that prevent them from being able to participate. It gives them opportunity. Now, if you see in this picture, there could be people who may not want to play in the ground, but they are playing with colors here. They are drawing something where the two kids are working on the same thing together. It's okay. That is a game for them. Give them opportunities. That is what is important. So now here is a video, right? So I'm going to come back to the slide again. So just watch this video and let me know. in this video you have seen, now we all used to love merry-go-round, right? Now this is what is all about inclusivity. Now you saw a merry-go-round, they have made it is a flat surface, right? They have made doors where you can put, you can bring the wheelchair in, and even they can enjoy the same fun that we all do. That is all about inclusivity. So it allows the opportunity for children with special needs to experience a positive impact that plays has their own on their development and overall well-being. It also allows them to develop through view the world through a different, more diverse lens. And when you provide them with different experience, they learn better. And it also helps them to interact with one another, exposing their differences, but highlighting their similarities at the same time, helping them to develop an awareness, respect, and understanding of people with all disabilities. This is what we need as educators. Promote. Even if your society does not accept, encourage them, make them understand why inclusive play is important. Adapt your, now in case if you're from Maharashtra or Mumbai, there's one organization called Cheshire Home. If you all can visit, is in Andheri East. They have a inclusive garden, and in other words, it can also be a sensory garden. You can see how they have adapted their garden. All the swings and everything is adapted there. Now, my question for you is why inclusive play are good for communities? Again, I want your responses in chat box. Now, because we all have learned about and we have got to know, we have some idea about inclusive play now. So why inclusive play are good for communities? Can you all send me some responses?
Participants, unmute yourself or you can put your responses in chat box. Okay, Annie Christo is saying like more people get involved, and Shweta, yeah, Shweta ma'am is saying positive awareness, and Gunasekharan sir is saying community development.
Correct.
And Anuradha ma'am is saying social development.
Yes.
And Deepa ma'am is saying everyone has equal rights.
Absolutely.
And Amrita ma'am is saying acceptance.
Correct.
Translating this, 17 Indian languages.
And Manisha ma'am is saying by inclusive play we can develop sensitivity and compassion towards others. And Sweta ma'am is saying welcoming new ideas and thoughts. And
Absolutely.
Anush ma'am is saying to develop friendship and with one another. And Sonali ma'am is saying acceptance by parents first, then family members. And Anuradha ma'am is saying holistic development of the child.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love the point, the second last response that you sent, Santya, that
Yes.
parents need to accept that first. And then only you'll be able to bring in change.
And still more responses are there, ma'am. Shall I read?
It's okay. I'll read it later.
Okay.
But thank you for your responses. And I'm loving the way you all are thinking about it. I love the response where a person says that parents need to accept that first. Absolutely. Until parents are accepting, the child will not feel confident. Now, I've also seen like parents who are illiterate or may not be aware of disability. They tend to lock their children in some room and they feel shy. They feel burdened that why did we get this child? क्या पाप किए थे हमने जो हमें ऐसा बच्चा मिला? So they treat the child as sin. And it's very difficult again, right? So the major point is the parents need to accept the child first, and then only as a parent you'll bring in change in the entire community and society. Social development. One of you responded as social development. Yes. Holistic development, which includes everything, all the developments, emotional, personal, social, everything. And I agree with all your responses. And these are the reasons that we need. And that is how the community will accept. Inclusive play structures bring kinds of all abilities together. It teaches kids to be sensitive. One of you again responded as sensitivity. Playing with children of different ability teaches kids about fairness and equality. And inclusive playground promote development of empathy and not sympathy. Empathy is you're putting yourself in someone's shoe and trying to help the kid, not as sympathizing. Arey, I know तुम्हारी disability ये है, you can't work. It's okay, I'll work for you. No. Empathy means when you work together. You'll support the child, but you will also ask the child to do the activity. That is called empathizing. So that is more needed. You never, as a parent, friend, teacher, anyone, to whomever you come across, you don't have to show sympathy to the child or a person. Always show empathy. Now, how to make your playground accessible and inclusive? As we saw the video, go beyond wheelchair accessible features, make ramps, equipment for any child with physical conditions. Include play features for children with motor coordination disorders. Some may have issues in their motor skills. Some may not be able to hold or grip. They don't have proper grip to hold something. Provide opportunities. Bring some activities which will promote their motor skills. Add play features for sensory disorders, like who can't hear, so they would like to touch. Or maybe they would like to see, visualizing. For visual impairment, who have loss of vision, they would like to have different textures to experience, right? So provide features again for children with sensory disability. Consider children with visual or auditory impairment. And consider accessibility to and from the playground and between playground equipment. This last point means even if you're bringing accessible tools in your playground, you need to see whether the child is able to access those or no easily. The child may be able to access with the help of someone, but you need to see whether the child is able to access it independently or no. Whether the tool that you're bringing in is giving a proper opportunity to the child to learn something. You need to check that as well. So there are so many points that you need to consider. At the same time, you need to provide them with equal opportunities. Now again, I have one more video. And just look this video. It's about like
My name is
3
Dana
minutes.
Garcia. I'm a special needs advocate. I was born and raised here in Las Cruces. When Soraya was 6 days old, she had 2 strokes. So she was airlifted to Albuquerque. We lived there for about 10 years and then we returned back home. We are very, very happy that this park has come about. It was a huge struggle in the progress, but at the end of the day, I mean, we finally have this inclusive playground here.
This is called the Young Park Inclusive Playground, and the idea is that it includes some features for all children. And the idea is that it includes
Now I'm going to pause here. Now you can see the textures, different textures here, the designs, right? Some are in circle, dots, zigzag. So these you are exposed to all these, right? So this is again needed.
the idea is that it includes some features for all children. And so we try to design it so that each children of all abilities will have something that can be specially for them. Maybe not every single feature will address the needs of every single child, but this play apparatus, the playground, will have some features that can be appropriate for all sorts of children. We've got musical instruments, we've got ramps to get children in wheelchairs up off of the surface so they can actually get into the playground. We've got spinners, we've got bobble riders, so different kinds of play apparatus for
So now you can see in this, now just behind this lady, you can see the ramp. So you can provide with different, you can make your entire surface or entire room, entire playground inclusive by providing the need of the child. Right, so I'm going to, you all can watch this video in YouTube. It is taken from YouTube. And this video says as young heroes, and just check out inclusive play and you'll be able to see the entire video. Now I'm coming to an end of the presentation. Now, when we talk about inclusive play, now in my introduction, Sandhya did tell that I'm also specialized in Special Olympics. Yes, I have done my diploma in Special Olympics and basically I'm also a coach. Okay, so when we talk about Special Olympics, there's a term called unified play. Now, can you all guess what is unified play? Unified play. Any idea? Anyone who have come across the term Special Olympics? Is there any responses, Sandhya, in the
No,
chat?
ma'am.
No. Okay. So I will consider as you may not be aware of unified play. Okay.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
Sonu Yadav sir is saying that Special Olympics I'm aware of. And
Okay.
Farah ma'am is saying where abled and specially abled play together.
Absolutely. Correct, Farah. It is about unified play is all about when a child with special needs and without disability, they work together, they play together, is termed as unified play. Okay. Now I'm going to show you certain tools or certain games that we can use indoor. And I want one of you to unmute your microphone, and you have to tell me how can we use this game to promote inclusivity. Okay, can you see this chessboard? Anyone would like to tell me? How can we bring in unified play here?
Participants, you can volunteer yourself and just answer, ma'am. Just can you give an idea?
I guess it could be a possibility that they are unable to unmute themselves. So maybe what I...
No, ma'am.
Yeah, okay.
They are unmuting, ma'am.
Okay, okay.
So Sonu sir is unmuted himself.
Yukti ma'am, this is Sonu Yadav.
Okay, hello, hi.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
So ma'am, basically it's chess. We can use it, you know, if a child who's very young, suppose in pre-nursery or nursery, I can see that, you know, there are holes in that, on that board. So we can ask the child to put, you know, to try to place those, I can see the horse and the, whatever the chess game includes, those into that hole.
Absolutely.
Something like
Absolutely, that could be your strategy, and I won't mind even if you use in this way. It's absolutely correct.
Yukti ma'am, this is Sonali Pathareya.
Okay.
Can I give a try?
Absolutely, absolutely. Go ahead.
Ma'am, this type of board can be used by a visual impaired kid.
Okay, now I want you to correct here. As you say, as you know that I did said earlier that use appropriate language when you when you say. So instead of visually impaired child or kid, you need to say child with visual impairment.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah,
No
yeah.
problem. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead now. Go ahead. Sonali, go ahead.
No, that's it,
That's
ma'am.
it. Okay,
Yeah,
that's it. Okay. Yes, we can use this again chessboard with children with special needs like visual impairment, so that they can identify when you need to place all the keys, coins, right? And at the same time, a person who are non-disabled, they can also play the game. They don't have any difficulty in playing. You can play this game. You can bring in this game instead of bringing the regular chessboard that we usually use. Instead of that, you can bring the adapted game. Now I want to show you one more picture, and again I want you to volunteer. Now everyone may just identify what kind of game is this, and I guess in this lockdown we all are playing.
It's Ludo.
It's Ludo, yes. It's adapted Ludo. And you can see the dice here in this. You just need to press this key here and then the dice will roll on. And the dice has tactile numbers on it. Like you can see the dot, it's embossed. It's embossed so that a child with visual impairment or a child with deaf blindness, they can explore it and they can move their keys. Again, you can insert the keys here. All your coins in the holes, and that is how you move. And the last game is snake and ladder. Similar way, you can see the snakes and the ladder all are in embossed way. So these are and you can play this game with anyone, even with hearing impairment, even if with visual impairment, with deaf blindness, right? You can play with anyone. And these games you can include in your unified play. Yes, these games are all indoor games. Now, what about outdoor games? Now, you remember I did tell you that I'm going to ask you one question in the end. That was about blind cricket. How many of you actually watched blind cricket anytime, like just for like few seconds? Or maybe you have watched the entire game?
Ma'am, I have not watched, but I have heard about it.
You have heard about it. So can you share it, like whatever you have heard about blind cricket?
Yeah, it is actually a normal cricket, how the normal cricket is played, but it is for the people with visual impaired.
Correct.
And
Right.
they have some rules, like when the bowler is bowling, so when he moves a little and the place from where he has to bowl, so he says play, because it is a sign for that person to know that the bowler is throwing the ball. And then so then they get alert, and it is like more of the throws are like they do that it should hit the bat, so it is between both the players, like batsman and bowler.
Absolutely.
I know this much about it, ma'am.
Okay, that's great that you know a bit of it. Now the ball that we use in blind cricket, it's a adapted ball which has a sound, a material which creates sound, and we insert in the ball. So the moment you throw the ball, it creates sound so that the child with visual impairment is able to hear the sound, and accordingly the child moves his bat. Now the one more in blind cricket is, now regularly when we play cricket, when we throw a ball, it's all overarm. But in blind cricket, the ball is thrown underarm. Okay. And with the help of sound, the child identifies, and that is how the child hits the bat, or hits the ball with the bat. Now, everyone has also heard about Paralympic, I guess. Maybe. But
yes, ma'am.
Have you all seen the games in Paralympic?
Yes, yes.
So again, the games there are adapted. The rules, the entire, like volleyball, everything plays the way we play, they play in the same manner. The only thing is they adapt the rules a bit. Or maybe the net. It could be like in the distance between the floor and the net would be like approximate 4-inch or 5-inch. But for children, when we make the adaptations in the games, it could be either 1-inch or 2-inch. So we adapt in those terms. but the game rules are same, but at times we do change a bit. Now for hearing impairment, they can't hear the commentary, what's happening. So we provide them with captions, whatever commentary is happening. To identify, we place the vibrator on the floor so that the child identifies. Goes for children with hearing impairment as well as visual impairment. So I'm going to show you one more video which talks about unified play. And the video is all about basketball. Yeah.
This is an AMI This Week shortcut.
I'm Laura Bain for Accessible Media.
My name is Jake Gordon, and I'm grade 12 here at Horton High School. I was already involved with a lot of the program we have with the students that have disability here at the school, and it kind of just seemed easy to take it to a medium that I knew a little bit better with sports.
My name is Emily MacArthur. I go to Horton High School and I'm in grade 12. Jake and I had talked about putting together a basketball team or any type of sport team just to do intramurals with the students from another club from our school. The students with
Now you saw that there were two students who were paired with each other. So one student was non-disabled and one was with special needs, and they were paired, right? And unified play is all about that. You pair the child with non-disabled, a child with special needs, they are paired with non-disabled so that they play together.
intellectual disabilities. We wanted to introduce sport into their lives because we haven't seen many opportunities within our school.
Emily and Jake got in touch with Special Olympics Nova Scotia, and together they started a unified basketball team. Students with and without intellectual disabilities play together. They practice every week over their lunch hour. Emily and Jake lead the session.
We start with some basic warm-up, a little bit of skill development to tie that into the whole idea of bringing people together. So we do some passing and dribbling sort of drills, just like basic ball handling to get people comfortable with the sport, and then we move into a scrimmage at the end.
Students and families fill the bleachers in the gym for every practice, cheering every shot and point. This team.
So now, as you have seen that, you saw one cute girl who actually threw the ball, and they practice, they again adapt all the dribbling, shuffle dribbling, all are adapted again so that they are able. There could be students now when there are students, now it is a unified play which comes under Special Olympics. Now Special Olympics is meant for children with intellectual disability. Okay, so a child who is with visual impairment, they can't be a part of Special Olympics, but if the child is with multiple disability, wherein the child has intellectual disability, visual impairment, or other disability, they can be a part of Special Olympics, but not as a single disability. If the child has hearing impairment or visual impairment, they can't be a part of Special Olympics. So the most of the students who participates in Special Olympics are either children with ID, that is intellectual disability, or children with Down syndrome. So the kid that you saw, the child threw the ball to the other student, and the child may not be able to reach to the net. It's okay, but you need to pass on the ball, give them exposure to dribble. That is what is all about unified play. So there are many games which are included in Special Olympics. So there are volleyball, cricket, basketball, floor hockey, bocce, swimming, indoor games, and there are many more games. So the conclusion, I come to conclusion now. So I'll conclude by saying the number of children living with impairments is higher than ever before and growing because medical advances have led to improved survival rates. And if we take initiative to turn policies and legal requirements into a workable reality, we can make this inclusive play a reality to all children with disabilities. Every child with disability is entitled to quality play and experiences, and it is our role and child's right to ensure that no child is excluded. So I'm sure, and I do believe that in my entire session, at least whichever few points that you liked, I want you all to incorporate that in your day-to-day life. So these are the references that I have taken the content from, right? And if you want to contact me or you have any questions related to special education, you can contact me. Here is my email ID and my contact number. Be free, feel free to message me anytime. Yeah. And you can send me mail if I don't respond to your messages or calls, do send me a mail. Yeah. So you can take either screenshot or you can note it down. Thank you so much.
Yes,
And
ma'am.